Which similar, good callback to Monday Night Raw, because I felt Jey Uso was kind of that thread throughout the entire show. They led off the show with Logan Paul, who came out, and he's such a good heel. Like he grabs the mic and you're just like, douchebag. I love it.
He's got the face.
He does. He just does, and he can work the crowd. Like, he got him with the he knew they were going to do the yeet chants and turned it on him, and it was just great. What I thought was funny was Gunther came. Literally anybody could have came out and would have got a pop. I saw a lot of people like, oh, they should make Gunther a baby face. Maybe I don't see it, because I don't see Jay losing at Saturday Night Main Event, and then I'm excited now that I'm going to get the main event of the Monday Night Raw that I'm going to go to on June 9th. It's going to be Jey Uso versus Gunther. So WrestleMania rematch, that's going to be fun. But, because the moment he got cheered because he was interrupting Logan Paul, great. But then before he could even speak, the crowd was chanting, "You tapped out." So, he's a baby. He was a baby face for a moment, but not really.
So is he one of the only heels currently in WWE it does not get cheered? Think about it for a minute.
In my head, WrestleMania, Dominic was on that list, but you're right.
Get cheered.
That's kind of the part of it. But the thing is, people, it's more of a cheer and the respect kind of like we talked about on Dominic. Huh?
Then boo him.
Well, there's a cheer. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. But the thing about Dominic, I feel like it's more of an organic thing that took a long time of him just earning it. Like we talked about with Kevin Apollo, actually, about we watched him put in the work, and he's still a heel, but eventually it will turn. I hope they hold off as long as they can, though, for sure. Until the Americano stuff, Gable was getting a lot of boos, but that's people laugh at that, but no, that's that's something I'd have to think about it. Look, but you might actually be right there. There's a couple in NXT, but that's a whole different story because
I'm not counting that right now.
Yeah, that's a whole different monster. But Logan Paul and Gunther have their little standoff and chat and talk about what's going to happen in a couple of weeks, and it's Saturday Night's Main Event. But Gunther leaves the ring, and bam! Jey Uso kicks Logan Paul right in the face. Super kick, comes out, talks gets on the mic, says his little catchphrase, gets the crowd pumped up. I thought it was a fun opening segment to the show. I thought it was a good way of setting up a few different things. You've got Saturday Night's Main Event. That's literally this Saturday. You kind of forget, like, oh, right, that's another big show. And then what? 2 weeks from there's Money in the Bank. Okay.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you, Jake.
Yes. Please.
Here it is. With everything happening this weekend, here it is right here. WWE is getting pretty petty now, aren't they? By going up against, I know you know where I'm going with this. So.
Yeah, no, I give you that, and you to a point. I wonder how much of that. Because the Saturday Night Main Event, I feel like, is more
that's an NBC
and Peacock in that, and that's what's going up against it. But
the NXT thing on Sunday going right up against Money, a Double or Nothing is
that's.
But this is something. Now I thought you were going to go here for me, but this is something that Tony Khan asked for, right?
I was gonna say that's why I don't feel bad. That's why when people say they're petty, and it's
but they are being petty. Which is fine.
To a point. It's one of those things. Absolutely. It's one of those situations where I also feel like, too, if it's one of those things where if NBC's like, here's the 3 Saturdays you can pick from, and they're having that show. All right, well, let's pick this one then. Like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Especially anybody who's in charge, which, aside from Ari Emanuel, Tony Khan has taken personal shots at Nick Khan, at Triple H, at Shawn Michaels, at whomever else. Really, it's just Nick and Triple H. Let's be real; they're the ones making most of the decisions on it. But yeah, he completely asked for it. That's. It's funny. I was yesterday clipping up our conversation with Phil when we talked about what the downfall of AEW was, and really, if you really think about it, at least for me, when I stopped respecting Tony Khan, was that thing with Shivani where he's talking to TNA, where he's doing his little Saturday Night Live, Mary Catherine Gallagher with his hands under his armpits going, there's only one room for one con in wrestling, and it's me. Like stuttering over his words. Like, that's the best take you got of that. Just to attack Nick Khan for no reason. So, like you said, they asked for it. I don't blame them at all. Now, I do think it will be funny if it is true. I haven't seen a confirmation yet, but the rumor seems pretty legit that they're going to do the second Women's Evolution. That same. I think that would be the same day as. Would that be the same day as All In? I don't know. There's so much stuff going on.
All In. It's not. They moved All into the afternoon too, right?
Right. They moved it to 2:00 in the afternoon. Yeah, which in Texas in the heat. Good. Yeah. I mean, are they going to put I know that it's a dome, but I mean, if the sun comes through,
it's air conditioned. I know somebody who
I give you that.
Northern DC.
Oh yeah,
He's been there or something. Knows somebody there, and it's very comfortable inside. So
I give you because I live in Phoenix, where we have the Diamondback Stadium that's got the roof. It's nice because they can open it because in April and September at night it is nice here, but in the summer they would close. But if you're in, there's certain seats that get the sun at different points. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be in those ones. You will be roasting. That will be but. I don't think there's going to be enough people or enough full seats where that's going to matter there. For the 12 people in the sun, they can just pick a seat, any seat in the 50-foot radius.
And normally I wouldn't bother you in the middle of a review of Raw.
It's fun.
But something just popped up on my phone, which I don't normally ever look at during a recording. But Warner Brothers Discovery's credit rating has been cut to junk status by the S&P.
What? I'm sorry. Cut to what?
Junk. JUNK. Junk status. That's an actual term. Yes.
Right. No. Exactly. That's not a real.
That's not really good.
I don't care what that is. That's not good.
That just came up on Variety.
Wow.
That's where I got it from. So
I like many have said, and we hear a lot, is that they're putting a lot into the whole idea that Superman movie is going to do it, and it's
citing weak linear TV outlook. Wow!
Oh my gosh! That doesn't even.
I'll put that down now.
I mean, is that part? But I feel like that's. People are talking about the HBO and the Max thing coming back. I feel like HBO taking HBO Max back is HBO might branch off. I've heard there's different ideas where WBD might be almost sold for parts, where certain assets will go to certain other things and kind of just go.
When your credit goes to junk.
To junk. Ooh,
that can't be good.
We need
I'm no Wall Street analyst, but I can tell you that's not good.
No, I was just about to say we need. I know that much, but we need Raj Giri to explain it. He's usually pretty good about explaining stuff like that. I'm sure he'll either jump online and do a pod, or they'll do at least give us a good long tweet that'll explain it in words that I'm gonna understand. If not, maybe MJ from NJ. He's gonna give Raj a call.
Yeah, see if he wants to jump on here real quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, bring him on. I'll run live for that one. Junk status. No, that don't even. There's no part of that sounds any good. Nope. I'm excited to see Dave try to tell us all about the stock market that he studies now, since he knows so much about the television business.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt your.
You're good. No, that was breaking news. Now, I'm gonna post this today, so we're not gonna be that far behind. So that's good. But yeah, I'm just curious. Back to Raw, the next match, which I like to grab this graphic because I think the graphics it's kind of fuzzy in here, but it's still the graphics that they've been doing on Raw since they moved to Netflix. It just looks so much cleaner and nicer and better. This is a fun match. Nothing that special, nothing unexpected. What I thought was cool was obviously Chad Gable pulling his best, doing his best Mr. Wrestling 2 impersonation with the loaded headbutt.
He's really got some arms, don't he?
Oh, geez, no, Gabe.
Wow,
that's why
I noticed that before.
Gable's just like Kurt Angle, but a little bit smaller. Like he's just, he's Gable is. That's why I still thought he might, back when they let Sami win the Intercontinental title, I thought that might be where they go with Gable, just because, I mean, he's not super tall, but Jesus, who can't he go with? He's been able to go with anybody and do anything. And like, he could do that big, he could do his big, what does he call it? The chaos theory of the German suplex where he picks him up. He did that to Braun Strowman, who can't help. Like there's no, exactly, and that was recent to him. And no shame on him. No, I'm not trying to diss him at all. That body is old and beat up. Like at that size, you're going to be beat up. He can't do much. That's why he got released, but quote unquote, because now he's going to have a show on USA where he's eating a bunch of food and he's a great ambassador. He should be. I don't know if we said it on the show or not.
Yes, we did.
Titus O'Neil. He needs to just go work with him. Which they should have them just go do. They should just go be ambassadors and somebody film that. That might be a funny reality show. The two of them.
That'd be pretty good.
Hey, WWE, right? I was gonna say that's not a bad idea. WWE, give me a shout out. I'm happy to help you get ideas.
10%.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, right. Or and free tickets of things, or bring me on the payroll. I'm fine. We're always for sale. I'm just kidding. All right. That was a fun match though. Obviously when Gable comes in, they're gonna win. I feel like since Gable beat Phoenix as Americano, he's doing this Penta, it is going to eventually lead to them being a tag team again. That just seems like where it's going. Probably their first tag match in WWE together is at SummerSlam, 2 nights of SummerSlam. That would make sense, I think.
I don't know. I don't know where they're going.
I don't either. I just feel like that's somewhere where it would work, either against the Creeds or Gable and someone. I don't know.
I tell you one thing though, the crowd. There's a definite difference between the reactions of the crowd between Penta and Phoenix. Like Penta is so over, it's ridiculous. And Phoenix is getting the golf clap.
Yeah, well, and Phoenix is getting there, but Phoenix is also. I mean, here's the when you say that, what first comes to my mind is that Phoenix is like the typical luchador. He's like he's smaller, he does the quick so but Penta's built like he's a bigger dude. He's thick, but he still does most of the same stuff in his office. And then, I mean, like literally, he was over from what I remember of that Raw. He was on the second Raw of this year on Netflix. Like he was over before he hit the ring. Like he's just got that style, that strut. Like you just get like that guy's cool. Like there's just something about him. I don't know what it is, but that strut.
Like you said, he's got the size and the personality to go with the size. There's a definite thing there.
Yeah,
you can be big and have the personality of wet cabbage, or you can.
This is very true.
Or you can be big and be like him. And
yeah, no, it's good, and it's cool to see him featured and working a bunch. And the way they still keep him strong. He eats the pin, but it's because of Gable, and it'll be interesting. I feel like he's probably if they don't team back up and have the Lucha Bros go on a tag run, I would see him being Intercontinental Champion before the end of the year. I feel like Dom's probably gonna have a good run with it, but yeah, Penta's way more over than I expected him to be for sure. Next match for the other shout out that was cool was that Roxanne Perez is officially on the Raw roster. We kind of figured that when she had her debut patch and she's been on there and she was kind of weaned off NXT as she goes, but that's cool. Good for her. She's small, but damn it, she's good at this. It's surprising how good she is for being 22, 23.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I know she's been doing it since she was 15 or 16, but still like, she's just like, there's moments in the ring where like, if there's a mistake or just her timing, like that's, as we're going to talk about in the other match of the qualifying for the women's Money in the Bank, timing is everything. If you're not in the right space at the right time, things can go very wrong very fast. But she's awesome. I thought it was smart how they brought Lyra to come out and take care of Becky so she doesn't have to take the pin, and then they can kind of continue that feud because that makes sense. And let's all be real. You hate to say it because Natty's great, but the moment we saw this picture, we all knew who was taking the pin.
For the most part, yeah.
Great, like, sorry, it is what it is. But it was cool to see Roxanne win because I think she'll be great. I don't see any way that she wins the women's Money in the Bank, and pulls a Tiffy like from last year. But I think she'll have a great showing, and it'll set up at least one to possibly two feuds that'll help her throughout the summer and the rest of the year. So that'll be great. So yeah, this is the other point, and I will pause here for a moment if people are a little queasy and have issues with injuries and things, because we got to talk about the second women's qualifying Money in the Bank match where Zoe Stark jumped a little too early for the drop kick and had to try to hold herself up. And
I'm gonna get on my soapbox here for a minute.
Yeah, no, we had to show it. I'm not trying to keep it on there very long. Feel bad for it. Like, no matter what happens, whose fault, whatever, you never want to see somebody get hurt. Also, everybody, this is why the quote-unquote old podcasters get so upset when they see people doing stupid shit that no one's going to remember, because you can get hurt doing a friggin' drop kick. We'll move to Rhea won the match just to get that. That was my soapbox for a moment, too.
That whole spot, even if it went well,
yeah,
didn't seem like it was going to go well.
Right? I was just going to say if. Yeah, it's a hard if. Yeah,
but
it didn't.
My big thing is I've had 17 surgeries on my knees plus a knee replacement.
Yeah, okay? No, the knees will do that, man. Like once they go, they go.
Once you have one, they pretty much continue. And she probably, it's surgically repaired to begin with, so it's already 90%, maybe 85. And once you do that, I think it's best she doesn't do this anymore.
Well, she's a little older anyway, isn't she?
Yeah, it works out good because,
dude.
Yeah. I've had that happen. And playing hockey, I had the exact thing happen where my skate stuck in the ice. Don't ask how. It's stuck in the ice.
I understand. Yeah,
the tip of the skate stuck in the ice, and my knee kept going.
Then you did the foot. Yeah.
So what I don't like is everyone that becomes a doctor,
right,
and starts throwing out all their diagnosis. Oh, right. It's a torn meniscus. It's this. It's that. It's probably everything.
Right, like that's I
because it was it was that bad. Where probably everything's shattered, like one of those Charlotte things. But we'll see. I checked before he went on. There was no update. So
yeah, no, I feel like that's one of those things too. That boy, I saw even someone post. I forget who it was. It was somebody decently famous that I follow, but they were like, my wife is a surgeon or a doctor on some level, and she thinks it's this and this. I'm like, I'll give you that. At least that person knows, but at least they said she thinks it's. As opposed to this has to, no, that's because sometimes it's not. Now, granted, there's no way they write, there's no way that it wasn't something horrible because of the way they fit. Because you don't want to say it, but you kind of figure she was probably there to lose the match, most likely. The Kyrie, and they had to move it to Kyrie Sane because they're not going to bring her back for her first match back in since December to lose or to eat the pin. She probably would have lost some other way, but they got to get through it. You got to move on. But good Lord, that was rough to watch. And you feel bad for anybody with it.
It's weird to say this, but it's also possible that there might not be as much damage as you think. It could be the exact opposite. Right. That's happened to me too, where I've been over backwards and it hurt real bad for a minute. And then 15 minutes later, I was fine. Yeah, so it can go both ways, but I don't think it is that way.
No, I once for my two big leg injuries were soccer. Mine was more my ankle when it came through at the end of it, luckily. But one time I remember sticking my foot and my knee fully hyperextended, and I thought it was over. I was scrolling around, rolling around the floor. I got subbed. 2 days later, it was the swelling got down. I was okay. I got lucky, but I was also 14. So I was young enough for my body could, are still elastic. You still were okay at those. That was, whew.
You think the problem after she left, do you think the problem was communication between the two of these that were left in the ring? Because Rhea seems like she would know what to do and calling on the fly, but I don't think Kyrie's communicate. I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm not sure. I think I'm trying to remember. I didn't.
They didn't look
like,
they didn't look very good there.
Yeah, and I'm almost wondering too if you just like part of it's you feel really bad for
Yeah,
yeah. I feel like it's probably a lot of that. Plus, they really did have to restructure, I'm sure, the entire ending of it.
The whole thing.
No, you're probably right though. And the referees trying to help where they can, getting feet. Yeah, that's a tough spot, especially too in this day and age. Like as good as Rhea is, how good would she be at calling it in the ring? So that's not something she was trained to do from the time. It's not her fault by any means. That's just not the business anymore, but you do have to have that skill to a point. I don't, I'm trying to remember the match. I don't feel like it was that bad of it, but I was also like, oh God, Zoe's knee. I just felt really bad. I always feel bad when somebody gets injured, even if
emotionally as an athlete, when you see your friend or somebody get hurt, and because sports is the only thing that you can do this where somebody gets seriously hurt, they cart them off, everyone applauds, and you go right back to doing what you were doing.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
It's weird.
Yeah, no, seriously, unless it's something like really like where the person like collapses from a heart issue.
The Bills game.
Yeah. Right, where they abandon, those ones. But yeah, if it's like a severe leg injury where like Joe Theismann, where like literally his leg broke in half.
The game.
You got it's raw. Yeah, that's it.
It's weird.
It's and you kind of just have to get and wrestling too. There's at least with a regular sport, you got like a moment. They're gonna do a commercial break. Everybody takes let's take a breath, move forward. This is like match is live. Yeah, hey, no, professional wrestling. It's a serious game, man.
Yeah, I just wonder how it would have been maybe different if it was Rhea and Bianca or something. I wonder what.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially somebody, or even like Rhea and Io, because they've gone against each other.
They know each other.
No, I get you.
Yeah, they did the best they could, Jake. I give them credit.
They did. No, yeah, exactly. It was, they especially getting through all of it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they did literally that. You nailed it. I can't say it any better. They did the best they could. They moved through it. The other thing that as the show was going through was Jey Uso was in the back. Paul Heyman had a vignette with their backstage segment with them. So did Sami Zayn.
Much better tan this week, by the way.
Yes, and they had the angle. I feel like that was like Paul was like trying to show that off. Like he had his hand up and like showed both sides of his face. It's like, yeah, okay, they gave me 3 shades too dark or whatever, or maybe he asked for like 1 or 1.5, and they gave him double what he asked. I don't know. I'm not one to spray his hand, so I can't really speak to it. But yeah, he looked better, and so did Bron. Bron did as well. Yeah, that one time though, where they were both in this. Yeah, that was. That was worse than MJF level bad, and MJF was leaking at different points. But it was all leading to this.
All of a sudden, Paul Heyman's Jamaican.
Yeah. I mean, he probably does enjoy his time on the beach, and
as a beach whale. Whale.
I was gonna go with the manatee. Was what I was gonna go with, but hey, back to the Jim Cornette. Back to the Jim Cornette references. Oh, but it was all leading to this match, which I thought was fun. It was a good time. We knew it was going to be, basically them trying to attack and injure Jay to lead so that for the Saturday night's main event match. But what I thought the big moment of it for me was the pop that CM Punk got to come out when they attacked him. Like, that crowd exploded for him. Like, I had to go back to South Carolina. I think it was Greensboro. Pretty sure it was Greensboro, South Carolina. Yeah, that was. I mean, it was one of those Crockett towns. One of those Carolina like that. And the arena is one of the older ones. Like that one's again back to Jim Cornette. I'll keep referencing him. It's a good podcast. I enjoy the man, but that's one of those buildings that I'm sure he'll talk about that he knew and he worked in. But that place just blew they were loud for Rhea. They were loud when Jay came out behind Logan. They were loud for Jay's entrance with the yeeting. I just feel like when Rollins and Breaker were in the ring and Sami was on the outside of the ropes, they were chanting for CM Punk, and when they got it, I don't want to say it felt like an Austin type pop in that spot, but that's as close as you're going to get in that moment where the fans, they're rooting for one guy to come out. They want to hear one thing, and not it's either with Austin it was the glass break. With Punk it's go back and watch it on Raw. I mean, they might have sweetened it now, but watch the people.
I saw it yesterday.
That was awesome. I just love that.
I'm not giving the Austins to this, though. I'm sorry.
I didn't say that's why I was saying near. I prefaced it. Come on now. I tried to help. I was speaking of Greensboro. Remember we talked on Spaces about the match with the power went out for WWF with Austin. Yeah, pretty sure that was great. I know it was South Carolina. I'm pretty sure that was the same arena. 90% sure.
I do not know.
I do not I know. I thought about that but I just thought that was a good pop, a good way to end the show. But also you had Logan Paul come out and KOJ. That was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. I thought they set themselves up well for Saturday night's main event, which should be fun. I'm excited for that. I think that'll be a good time. So far, they've. I think people are wanting more from them that are complaining about the Saturday night's main events. Like they're not going to be.
They were never meant to be that.
Yeah, like I feel like back in the day in the '80s, like they didn't have as many pay-per-views, so they felt.
Careful
they did
what you say,
because
I actually know this. So
well, no, I'm just saying. Well, they did feel bigger. Well, and you did have some of those big moments, like you have. The Hogan and Andre the Giant and the belt thing and the referees, because they only had 3-4 pay-per-views a year. So it was different. Nowadays, it's like this is just a show where it's almost like a glorified house show where you're going to get like 4 or 5 fun, great matches, and send the crowd home happy. Awesome. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event was filler because
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a filler time. And it was never live. It was
well, yeah.
If you actually look, I was going to say this another time, but if you actually go back in the records and look, which I have, it's never live. It's always taped. And when you look at the tape dates, the earliest to Saturday night that they have is like a Thursday twice. They're always 2 to 3 weeks out, and a couple of them are 2 months out taping.
Oh, yeah. That especially back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was cool to watch because, it was cool because you got to stay up and watch Saturday Night Live. And then I liked wrestling, so I got to watch this. But staying up as a kid, how old was I about this time? Yeah, I was up. Yeah, good enough. But,
good enough.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, but there was plenty of shit in there too. Like you remember the good stuff, but there's plenty of crap in there too. Like some of these matches are like shit. This was on
there.
And
especially
on there,
especially the original at Saturday Night's main events too, where they were like, where it was running at the Saturday Night Live time slot. So like you were getting the good stuff early, and you're gonna have that last hour of like,
yeah. If Hogan was on, he wanted to be on the first half hour,
right? Because that was before midnight. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it was just a weird. It's a weird concept that people sometimes think these all were great, but like you said, the main stuff was right up front. You got your half hour, maybe 40 to 45 minutes, and after that, they didn't give a shit what they were putting out there because you see some of the matches that are out there, and you'll understand.
Yeah. So I was wrong. So it was Florence, South Carolina for the In Your House Beware of Dog. And I always get this wrong. Greensboro's in North Carolina. That's my bad. I always get those wrong. I live in Phoenix, y'all. I'm on the West Coast. I apologize for any listeners that I offended because I know I said that earlier. Somebody was in the comments. You son of a. Totally understand. My fault. Mea culpa.
I'll also say if you're from Phoenix, you can say y'all.
Well, yes. Yeah. All right. That's fine. I mean, technically, we're the South. We're just the South.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
But yeah, no, I feel like I've seen a couple of clips where they try to put Phoenix in the South. I'm like, Southwest-ish. But no, that was a good show. I enjoyed Raw. I think Raw set themselves up very well for Saturday night's main event. So
is that card all set?
As far as I know, right? Because you have Cena and Truth, you have the tag match, you have Logan Paul versus Jey Uso, and then there's something else. What else is there? Hang on, let's Google-fy that. What is there? I'm like, there's got to be another one.
Is there a women's match?
That's what I'm thinking. There has to be that, and I just can't remember what it is because I had to try to catch up on everything in like 4 days.
They did a nice job setting the card up already, though. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I thought that was good, especially. Oh, it's Drew and
the cage.
In the cage.
Oh,
that's what it is. I knew it was something. And then and then they're gonna have Gunther take on the winner of Jay versus Logan Paul at on the June 9th Monday Night Raw, which they were plugging last night, which is awesome because I live 10 minutes from there.
Okay, so Drew has proven he's not afraid to bleed. Does NBC let him do it?
I mean, I don't see why not, but they might be a little scared because of what they had in the cage. I don't think they want that much blood. I think there's got to be a limit to them. I would think, but hey, what do I know? That's a valid point.
I'm interested in seeing that because I think they might. Because it'll be later in the night too, so.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point.
Should be the main event, right? No, I don't even know what I don't know.
I would think the main event will be Logan versus Jay because it's a title match. I feel like they said that Cena and R-Truth isn't for a title, but I thought that might be. Yeah, there we go. I got the card. It's not quite as clear as I wanted it to be, but we're working on the fly here, people. But yeah, that's the card because they usually only do 4 matches at those because they've got to be a tight 2 hours on those. And I also heard there's going to be some big announcement there. I saw that as a rumor. I'm not sure where I saw that from. So take that with a grain of salt. We know how the rumor mill works. But yeah, that's Saturday night's main event. That should be entertaining. You know,
where's that from? I can't read that. It's way too.
Yeah, I can't either. It's a blurry as shit. I grabbed the first picture that had all 4 on there. And it didn't come out as good as it. San Antonio? No, that was where they were recently, weren't they? What does that say? Tampa, Florida. Oh, right, because this is that weekend where they're doing like 4 shows in Tampa. Because they're doing SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, Battleground, Raw. Wow. Right? I feel like that's what it is. Maybe not. I think that's what it is.
You're telling the story.
I'm getting it through as best I can. There's a lot going on. I had to try to cram everything from being off the line. So as far as like being back at school, trying to study everything in the last week, like mother. Yeah.
There's a lot on the WWE plate going on this weekend. So yes.
There is, and I feel like they try to continue to go that way. Like they keep themselves rolling, you know. Which is why, back to what we were saying before about them being petty. Yes, they are, but I feel like there's also points of like, man, we're just rolling forward. Like if it happens that we kick your ass, sorry, we're probably gonna give ourselves the opportunity to kick your ass, but is what it is.